Tedla in New York. Tedla, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, Shaka.
I am terrific. I'm terrific, and I'm very delighted, of course, to have you on the line from New York. What about you, reacting to the events in Dhaka?
Well, it is a good lesson. I see Ethiopia both as Senegal and Mali. We had a situation of Senegal-type democratic change in 2005, but that was squashed by brute force. I commend the loser as well as the winner in Senegal, because they came to understand that, after all, you cannot deny the people's voice. And I also commend the movement, the so-called the June movement, which says enough is enough. We have the same slogan now after 6 years in Ethiopia. We call it Baka. But the question now in Ethiopia is we are looking more like Mali now. You know why we are looking more like Mali now? In Ethiopia at this time, people are kicked out from their land and moved to Addis Ababa. There was no television camera, but VOA as well as German radio reported more than 20,000 people are now ethnically cleansed from southern part of Ethiopia, and they came to Addis Ababa. This is the saddest thing. At the same time, we have a movement, popular movement. People have to hold their guns like Gambella, what we have in Gambella, to fight the land grab, what we have in Afar region, land grabbing, we have in Ogaden, we have back to in Ethiopia, in Addis Ababa. Ethiopian Muslims are saying no to the government involvement in their religious community. They have been staging huge rallies in their compound for the last 3 months. Ethiopian Christians as well, we say no when our land, our traditional historical land of the monastery in Gondar is now destroyed for the agricultural satisfaction of the government. So Ethiopia now is not looking more like Senegal. Ethiopia is looking more like Mali. That is a sad thing.
How can you say that Ethiopia is looking more like Mali when the last time I checked, frankly, I have not heard, for example, the African Union, which incidentally is headquartered in the Ethiopian capital, Addis Ababa, condemning the Meles Zenawi administration in Addis Ababa. I have not heard the United Nations or the international community blaming the government of Meles Zenawi for doing things that are essentially untoward to Ethiopians.
Well, this is what happened to Mubarak a year ago. Nobody condemned Mubarak for the last 40 years when he was in power, when he was throwing the Muslim Brotherhood in jail, when he prepared election and when he won landslide. Nobody complained. So you have to see the West is behaving like they used to behave like an Egyptian affair. So for them, Meles Zenawi is a leader. Why? Because he's fighting their war in Somalia. But the problem is that Meles Zenawi is in fact destabilizing the Horn of Africa. Meles Zenawi is not helping the Horn of Africa. He is getting into Sudan now to get help from southern Sudan to fight the Gambella people resistance against land grab. So Meles Zenawi is supported by the West, by Chinese, and all people who want to get something from him. So for us now, the struggle is a popular struggle. We are the one who makes a difference. Like the Egyptians did, like the Yemenis are doing, the Syrians are doing. We have to come together. The opposition have to come together and rallying cry, change. Change, enough is enough. We have this slogan before. The Senegalese, they win. And we win also too. The question is, we have to mobilize our people. Our peaceful struggle in Ethiopia have no right to protest. The Senegalese have the right to protest, to change their government. Ethiopians are not allowed to come on the street and to say anything about the government. This is a sad story.
Tedla, by the way, you say that you access Voice of America, and I know that you have actually been sending a lot of emails to us, challenging us, of course, to do much better in our coverage of Ethiopia and Africa in general. How do you access Voice of America from your vantage point in New York?
Well, I'm a very good fan of Voice of America. I usually watch it on internet. But back home, our people, even Voice of America is jammed in Ethiopia. The only source of information for most of Ethiopians, the rural people, is VOA. So the government is jamming information. So you know how we heard about the monastery's destruction from VOA? A monk came out on VOA Amharic and said, he called fellow Ethiopians in the diaspora to come out and say no to the destruction of their neighborhood, their ancient neighborhood. Then we rally up for them because they cannot rally over there. You cannot go and protest in Ethiopia.
I see.
This is a sad thing.
I see. Tedla Asfaw, a loyal Straight Talk Africa listener who joined us in our New York studios. Thanks to you all and to our affiliate stations, along with our viewers and listeners. We thank you for tuning in. If you're listening to us on the Voice of America, special English is coming up next.